Hello students, welcome to part 2 of our course on water resources engineering where we will be talking about open channel flow. Now in part 1 we learned about various hydrological processes and ultimately realized that when we talk about engineering hydrology, our task is to manage the discharge that would be flowing through our hydrological system, and most of this discharge is routed through certain sections which we call as channels, and channels or canals that we commonly call them is basically accumulation of all these flows that is getting accumulated from various processes in our hydrological cycle. And this module will try to understand that what are the engineering considerations that we have to pay attention to while designing these channel flows or designing the systems that would carry the flow ultimately accumulating in channels. So we have already talked about certain flood routing mechanisms. Specifically, we looked into lumped routing where we had some inflow I entering as flood, and then we had some Q, and we were interested to understand the various hydrographs or delays in these hydrographs, that what would be attenuation, what would be difference in their time base, and so on. But in this module, first of all, we will try to understand the governing physics of flow into these channels, why we have to give an engineering consideration, and then ultimately design certain channel sections where we will try to determine the cross-sectional properties and relate the material properties of channels with the flow characteristics. In this module, we are going to talk about steady and uniform flow. So if you see, you might have seen some very peaceful channels where water almost appears steady, or it appears that there is no acceleration or rate of change of velocity with respect to time at any given cross section is equal to zero. Also, if we look at certain cross sections, it would appear that the bed is perfectly horizontal or no change in depth is happening. So we will try to understand what are the governing equations of such steady and uniform flow. Sometimes our flow may be steady but not uniform, or it may be uniform but not steady. So we'll try to look into the combinations of these various flows and try to understand the governing physics. Second kind of hydraulic structures that we would be interested in is that, let us say that there is a reservoir and then we let the gates open. And if we let the gates open from a reservoir which is having a huge storage, there would be considerable head loss represented by H. And as it would fall down, we see these rollers getting formed until we reach another equilibrium depth downstream. We call such phenomena as phenomena of hydraulic jump. And this is one of the most spectacular scenes that we see when dam gates are opened or when waterfalls result in change in heights, or if you have seen waterfalls, you would see that there would be some rapids developing or these rollers, turbulent rollers developing towards the downstream side. So we'll try to understand what is this non-uniform flow or rapidly varying flow and what is the governing physics of that. Because you can imagine when water is falling from this height h, where h is in hundreds of meters, the amount of potential energy that would be converted to kinetic energy is not going to be a trivial calculation. Or the amount of energy we would have, the amount of mass of water we have to ensure that the underlying structure, it may be concrete, it may be soil bed, it is not getting eroded. And hence this is another design consideration, specifically civil engineering design consideration, that we have to account for wherever we are designing for hydraulic jumps. Also, not only the height or the volume of water would matter, it would also matter that what is length of this jump. From there, this where this jump is starting and where it is terminating, up to what height this water goes. So determining all the characteristics of hydraulic jump would be of interest when we talk about rapidly varying flow. But before we go to rapidly varying flow, we have to develop some basics. and also understand that how a uniform flow would be modeled, how to account for any perturbation that comes into direction of uniform flow, what kind of non-uniformities will be introduced. It could be hydraulic jump, it could be changes in slope, and ultimately what would be the resultant downstream depth. So if we have y1 here and there is sudden change into the bed profile of a river, because most of these rivers or channels, they will be flowing across the natural strata. So we may have soft strata and there may be large undulations. On the other hand, if it is a man-made section, then we have to account for what should be the properties of cross section, what kind of material we should use depending upon flow characteristic and the height characteristics. And finally, as hydrologists, we learned that we are interested in determining that if flood occurs or a hydrograph has the magnitude of some peak here, which may result in which is a result of heavy precipitation into our watershed, this peak will propagate through a channel section, which we also learnt in routing. And it may happen that in sometimes our river banks may be breached. So if it is a channel section or a river from which this hydrograph or flood is propagating, it may happen that the water level that would result from certain discharge Q may result in height H, and this height H may be greater than the bank elevation or height of the banks, and that would result in flooding. So we may be interested to understand that how this gradually varied flow would look like in two dimension, and want to gain understanding of flood plains under different input hydrographs. So you can clearly imagine starting from peacefully and tranq these tranquil flows, we would be talking about abrupt changes in flows, as well as would try to understand the space distribution of certain temporal phenomena. And here this temporal phenomena happens to be our hydrographs. So what we would be doing in this course of open channel flow, we would try to develop these variations in flow. So we will look into gradually varied flow in one dimension. That means we will assume that if we have a channel which would have certain cross section, we would assume that properties are only varying in the direction of flow, and assuming that the distribution of properties in orthogonal direction to direction of flow, they are negligible. And we will try to understand how the profile of water, how the depth of water would look like, or change in dy upon dx would look like in the context of various gradually varying flow in one dimension. We will also try to understand this rapidly varying flow in one dimension. So we can understand that if we try to model dams, reservoirs, and rivers in three dimension, it is not going to be a simpler problem. However, we will try to understand the system by making sure that uh, it can be represented mathematically, and one dimensional representation would not be a bad case after all to understand various dynamics, such as what would be the depth of upstream, what would be the depth of downstream, and if this water is coming, up to what length these surface rollers will form. And that's exactly what we discussed, because the energy dissipation that will happen in this area is going to be huge. So we have to design our strata to overcome all the energy or forces that would be falling onto these areas. So that is an important design consideration. And then we will also look into certain considerations of uniform and steady flow, where specifically we will talk about Manning's equation and Chase's equation, where we will try to relate the flow characteristics such as velocity and discharge to the channel characteristics such as channel slope, or the surface properties, that what is roughness of the material against which this water is flowing, or what are the cross sectional properties, that is area of flow or wetted perimeter, or the length of channel in which there is a contact with water, because on top we are talking about open channel flows. So this is going to be free surface which is exposed to atmosphere. So we will assume that atmospheric pressure is present everywhere, and we will put atmospheric pressure to zero as it would be present ubiquitously throughout our system. And finally, we will combine all the lessons that we will learn from rapidly varying flow, gradually varying flow, uniform flow, non-uniform flow to design the cross sections of our river. And when we talk about designing cross sections of the river, we essentially want to determine what should be this area, what should be the perimeter of flow, what should be shape of flow, should it be circle, should it be trapezoid, or should it be rectangle? So we will try to design the most efficient channel sections that results in taking care of the flow and meeting certain conditions. That is, there should be some free overboard. That would mean that there is a free surface and there should be some clearance between the banks and this free surface. Moreover, once we understand these flow dynamics and kinematics, we would try to understand how we can route this water, because when these rivers and channels flow, they have to cross certain built infrastructures such as cities. And in cities, it is expected you will have roadways, you will have railways, and sometimes you may also have runways of the airport. So what should be the clearance that we do not flood these infrastructure facilities often, while making sure that the discharge queue is not getting obstructed. So you can imagine that all the way from simple flows to complex flows, this course on open channel flow is going to have it all. But we will go in steps. This is a huge and very charismatic subject. So we will try to first of all understand the basics. So the overall layout would be is that in first part of this module 2, our first module of module A, we will understand the basic concepts. Once we are comfortable with basic concepts, we will dive into conservation laws, where we will apply conservation of mass, conservation of momentum, conservation of energy, and try to use these conservation laws to understand critical flows, how to model uniform flows, as well as gradually varying flow in one dimension, or gradually GVFs in one dimension and two dimension. We will also use these conservation laws to model various characteristics of hydraulic jump, which we would classify under the category of rapidly varying flow. Now, once we are done with these modules, we would have good understanding of physics of flow in open channels, and we will assimilate this understanding into the topic of channel design. And in this part of our lecture series, we will specifically deal with designing the rigid boundary channels. So with this introduction, we look forward to start our rigorous yet exciting journey into open channel flow. Thank you.